campaign issues, your portal to register voters, host MAGA meetups, your scheduler, and all-access pass. Your application on becoming a Trump team leader. Earn points, get rewarded, get frontline access, get the presidential photo. Oh, and did we mention, this is your personal shopper too? So just to repeat, this isn't just an app. This is your tool to keep America great. Join the army for Trump and download the app today.
Trump campaign is now reaching voters online.
You are seeing the President of the United States. Look at the lines. You join our movement. A lot of President Trump supporters here. Greatest movement in the history of our country.
Hello. Hi, Chris. Oh my gosh. How are you?
Mercedes, I've worked with the president a lot through this, and what I see is a man focused on protecting the health and safety of the American people.
You can't just sit there. Stand up. Stand up for what is right, and don't be afraid.
Time and time again, Joe Biden does not have the strength to stand up to the radical left of his party.
Today, we are spotlighting Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I thought I had seen everything from the Democratic Party. I never imagined they would try to shut down police departments.
But the things that he's doing right now to improve the lives and put Americans first.
President Trump is a very strong leader, and I like that. I want to feel confident in the person that is running the country.
We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will make America great again.
Welcome to Team Trump Online.
The ladies are live, discussing the hottest topics of the week with you tonight.
And we will make America great again.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Right View. I'm Lara Trump, Senior Advisor to President Trump's re-election campaign. As always, we have a very exciting show ahead with some very incredible women. Kimberly Guilfoyle, National Chair of Trump Victory, Mercedes Schlapp, Senior Advisor for Strategic Communications, and Katrina Pierson, Senior Advisor to the Trump campaign. Please be sure to like and share this broadcast with your friends. All right, ladies, great to be back with everybody. Let's get started. We got to talk about Joe Biden. He has been in isolation in recent weeks, hunkered down in his basement in the safe space in Delaware. It's clearer than ever that Joe Biden is a huge liability to his own campaign. They can't trust him out there in front of the cameras, and they're sheltering him in place as a result. Multiple prominent Democrats are urging Biden to remain in his basement. Former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe was caught on tape actually telling the Norfolk City Democratic Committee, people say all the time, oh, we got to get the vice president out of the basement. He's fine in the basement. 2 people see him a day. His 2 body people, that's it. And that's where we're preferring that he actually do. Katrina, if Biden cannot be trusted on his own Democratic Party or by his own Democratic Party to handle the rigor of a presidential campaign, how is he going to handle being president of the United States?
Oh, that's simple, Laura. He can't. He can't even handle doing a taped interview with note cards.
That's right.
And his silence on this anarchy and chaos we're seeing and the attacks on police officers is his consent. If he can't stand up for law enforcement whose purpose is to protect and serve our local communities, and Joe Biden isn't fit to lead a high school play, more or less the real world, where there's 320 million American lives at stake. I mean, it's laughable. He's not fit.
Yeah. Mercy, it's been more than 70 days since Joe Biden's last press conference. Why is Joe Biden and his campaign advisors, why are they terrified of facing reporters? And how does Biden's media accessibility compare to President Trump's? I think we all know that.
Well, my goodness, even when I was back in the White House, it was the president who would say, bring the press corps in. Let's talk directly to the press. He would do it all the time. The president is all about media accessibility. And I find it mind-boggling that you have those members of the press that would say, oh, my goodness, President Trump is not giving us a press conference or not being accessible to us. It's absolutely insane. Now, let's compare that to Joe Biden. I mean, Joe Biden, I got to tell you, their campaign manager must be scared. They're saying, look, Joe, you know what? Stay in the basement, eat some popcorn, watch your favorite Netflix, or the West Wing series from back in the, 1990s, and you'll be fine. You'll be okay. We're going to work around you and make sure that we have surrogates and campaign managers going out on TV. Look, it's a huge liability for the Democrat Party. They are nervous. And let's just think about this. What I'm looking forward to is debate season. Will Joe Biden show up to the debates? And one thing, you know this as well as Kimberly and Katrina, President Trump will dominate the debates because of the fact that he'll just tear Joe Biden down. And I just don't know if he can even possibly recover after that.
Well, talk about getting your popcorn ready. Get the popcorn ready for the debates. Those are going to be epic. I cannot wait. Kimberly, eventually Joe Biden is going to have to face the music and reveal his incompetence to the American people. We know for sure that Joe Biden will eventually have to face off, as we're saying, with President Trump in these debates. What are your expectations of how Joe Biden is going to perform? And why does the mainstream media consistently give Joe Biden's disappearance a pass? Could you imagine if President Trump was hiding out in a bunker?
My goodness. Yeah, I can't even wait for this. I dream about it at night. Joe Biden could not win a debate with a fourth grader, okay? Let's be honest, given his current mental state and feeling his way out of the basement. Where am I? They're going to have to do a mock debate setup in his basement so he'll feel comfortable when he finally comes out of hiding. So this is the problem. When you have President Trump, who has really proved himself to be one of the greatest political debaters of all time. Let's be honest, Laura. We saw President Trump literally crush 16 qualified candidates and then destroy Hillary Clinton on the debate stage. He is savage when it comes to debating, and he's amazing, and the American people are going to love it. So eventually it's going to come to bear that Joe Biden is going to be exposed. He can't hide any longer, and we're going to be able to get this all out in front of everyone, and the American people are going to be able to decide. Because at the end of the day, the president does not just have a superior mind over, Joe Biden in comparison. He has the facts on his side. He has the truth on his side. This is a man who ran for president, right, promising to deliver for America, and he has done exactly that. So he's going to have everything to say. This is what I did, promised. This is what I did and delivered. And some of the biggest middle-class tax cuts in American history, transformational criminal justice reform, moving the U.S. Embassy in Israel to Jerusalem. Everybody loves that. And the president wakes up every day fighting for America while Joe Biden is struggling to get out of his pajamas every day, and he's just, napping Joe. That's what he is.
Well, do you guys remember, Mercedes, you were with me when we did our bus tour in in Iowa, and I was speaking to a group of people, and I said something along the lines of, poor Joe Biden. I sort of feel sorry for him. Joe, can you get the words out? Can you form a sentence? And I got attacked by the media. They attacked me, and they said, oh, Lara, Trump is making fun of Joe Biden's stutter. Joe Biden doesn't have a stutter. I think he might have a real mental decline and a problem there.
Right.
And I want to say that I was one of the first people to call out Joe Biden on this, and now everybody is seeing it. I want to play this clip of Joe Biden and get everybody's reactions. Watch this.
The rapidly rising I don't know.
Okay, Katrina, what did you think of that? What is your reaction to this and really the overall state of Joe Biden?
This just gets better and better by the day. Other world leaders are salivating for a Biden administration. They can't wait to have that spectacle, sitting across for them to negotiate with a guy that would literally have to have an interpreter to fill in the blanks for him. It's truly embarrassing, but it does go to show that this is the best that the Democrat Party has to offer.
That's right.
And it's neither impressive nor is it a realistic option for someone that wants to lead the greatest nation in the world.
Yeah, Mercedes, he couldn't even be bothered to take off the mask. It's just hanging there sort of on the side of his face. I don't know why nobody said, Joe, take the mask totally off. Like, it's just, what is going on here? Does he not have advisors helping him out?
Where is his handler? No, but, you know, Mitt Romney had his binder full of women. I think Joe Biden has his binder full of gaffes. I mean, let's be real. It doesn't end. It's embarrassing. And I got to tell you something. Let's remember the Democrat Party has picked an establishment, swampy career politician to lead this as their candidate. That is not where the party's even at. I mean, that's why Joe Biden has had to embrace the Bernie Sanders faction of the party, what I consider the Communist Party. And at the end of the day, he's going to do everything he can to push farther to the left, away from the mainstream. And at the end of the day, can't even be articulate. And I think that that's a big challenge for Joe Biden to be able to give what I would say, you know, even an intellectual type of speech or a vision for America. We're not even seeing that coming out of the Joe Biden camp.
Yeah, and he actually at one point, Kimberly, he said something along the lines of, well, I'm boring myself now. He's not exciting anybody. I mean, you have to get enthusiasm behind you. I think he might be the presidential candidate with probably the least enthusiasm in the history of politics at this point. I mean, who's excited about this guy?
Oh, my God. No, somebody check the pulse, right? I mean, this is like below, like low energy Joe. I don't know what's happening here. But also just want to say, paging Mrs. Biden, where are you?
Yeah,
and why are you letting this continue, right? I mean, my God. I mean, have some, you know, love and affection for the guy because this is awful. I mean, there's no one who can watch these videos and legitimately think that Joe Biden is equipped to be president of the United States. But you know why his family isn't saying anything? Because for decades, they've all become millionaires selling access to his office and to his government position. And on top of getting, you know, $80,000 per month for a no-show job in Ukraine, his son, Hunter Biden, hopped on Air Force Two with his father to China and came back with $1.5 billion for a fund. I mean, this is obvious. These are the facts, folks, okay? So Joe Biden is being propped up like Weekend at Bernie's, okay, by staffers who see this as an opportunity to reinvent America and their radical vision, defund the police, you know, push socialism, the Green New Deal, and government control that his family sees as just another opportunity to cash in. And that's why this election actually matters so much. They want to export this country. They want to continue to get rich and grift off of America. And that's why every freedom-loving American needs to stand up and fight back and say no to the Biden crime syndicate.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like, yeah, go ahead, Mercy.
Can I ask you something? I want to ask you this question. Do you think it's why the Democrats are spending so much time in the media being focused on the VP candidate and who that can be? Because they know that Joe Biden, if he's even able to serve the first, 10, 20 days, it's really going to be the VP that's going to be running the show?
Oh, well, that's exactly right. I mean, nobody actually believes that this man is capable of leading a country. I mean, he can't even make a form of coherent sentence at this point. So you're right. We need to pay very close attention to who his vice presidential running mate is going to be. And they say they're not even announcing this, I guess, until August at this point. But this is the individual.
Because none of them are any good.
That's exactly right. But this is the individual that would actually be running the country. And don't forget, it's not just going to be president, vice president. If you want to know who's actually going to run the country, if God forbid Joe Biden became president, pull back the curtain and look at the Democrat establishment. They are the ones that have control of Joe Biden. They're pulling the strings behind the scenes. This guy isn't doing anything and standing up for what he believes in. He's saying everything to go along with a script that they wrote for him because he knows that that is his only chance. It's the only way, quite frankly, he won to become the Democrat nominee at this point. It should have been Bernie Sanders. as it probably should have been in 2016. They stole it from him in 16. They did it again in 2020. But you're right. Whoever is chosen as his running mate, pay very close attention to that person, because that is going to be the president. We know that Joe Biden could never
the shadow president.
The good news is that I think a lot of people in this country see this. I think they're very excited to come out and vote for President Trump on November 3rd. They see why now more than ever it is so, so important to make the right decision, to get out and vote, to make your voices heard on November 3rd, because this guy cannot be our president. So that's my thought on it. All right, ladies, thank you so much for this great segment. Everybody at home, be sure to like and share this broadcast with your friends. We're going to take one quick commercial break. Stay right where you are.
Antifa is destroying our communities, rioting, looting. Yet Joe Biden kneels down and his staff sends money for bail. And Biden fails to stand up to the radical leftists fighting to defund and abolish the police. With Biden kneeling to the left, we'd have chaos in the streets. President Trump is standing up for us, keeping our communities safe, protecting minority-owned businesses, and always standing for our flag.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
As we have already seen, his America First agenda has lifted all Americans up and have empowered them with true economic emancipation that has once again made the American dream possible. That's why I want you to text EMPOWER to 88022 right now if you want to keep America great and deliver 4 more years for President Donald J. Trump.
On Tuesday, the president delivered remarks and signed an executive order on police reform. President Trump took unprecedented steps to heal our nation by building a better bridge between law enforcement and the communities they serve. As a former prosecutor, I understand the importance of trust between a community and the police department that serves it. Mercy, can you talk to us about President Trump's bold leadership and how he's paving the way for a better future and better communication between the two?
Yeah, it just shows President Trump is a results-oriented president. Following the tragedy of George Floyd, he made it a point to bring together community leaders as well as law enforcement and listen to them. And this is, I think, one of the best qualities of the president, is that he's not your typical politician that just says, we should do this, we should do that. No, he brings the communities together and then comes up with a plan of action. And this executive order on police reform is a first step. It's an opportunity to work with the local police departments to ensure that we're incentivizing best practices, that we're ensuring that those bad cops are out of there, that they don't have a place to be in our police departments, and ensuring that the resources are provided to those local police departments who are working hand in hand to ensure that the good cops are the ones that are the ones doing well and are out on the and keeping our streets safe, while at the same time ensuring that we are moving towards better practices in our local police communities. I mean, it is why the president stands with law enforcement and also recognizes the important role they play in our communities, as opposed to the Democrats, who have moved towards even not just defunding the police, but in the case of like Minneapolis, city council disbanding the police, which we know would cause to chaos in the streets and that Joe Biden will need to own.
Absolutely, because the president isn't afraid to lead. And by signing the landmark executive order, President Trump accomplished more in 40 minutes than Joe Biden did in 44 years. Think about that. Katrina, so where was Joe Biden on this issue for the 8 years specifically that he was in the White House, and where was he before that for 36 years in the United States Senate?
Yeah, Kimberly, you know, that is a great question that I wish someone in the media would ask Joe Biden or his campaign, but they haven't. And where has everyone been on this issue? Because it's not brand new. But, you know, it's over the last few years, I mean, everyone's really been exposed on the left for what their true intentions are. And while Joe Biden and the Democrats have done zero to help Black America, they've been enriching themselves and their families, pushing policies for special interests that earn them 6-figure speaking fees, setting up their children like Hunter Biden to become millionaires. They're just putting millions of dollars into their own bank accounts while Black America continues to rot. And I'll point out that this is not something that President Trump started because of what happened to George Floyd. President Trump did this 6 months ago when he started the commission to review these types of policies and practices in mental health. So President Trump was leading on this issue before it was cool, Kimberly.
No, you're absolutely right, because he has, a conscience and understands and is a leader and a problem solver and gets things done. And there is quite actually the split screen unfolding between President Trump and the Republicans and split screen with Joe Biden and the Democrats on the issue of law enforcement. And while Biden and the left want to defund the police and make America unsafe, President Trump is actually pushing forward common sense police reforms. Now, Laura, how are they two dramatically different worldviews and responses on this between Joe Biden and President Trump, revealing the leadership of both?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. There could not be a starker contrast between Joe Biden and President Trump on this. President Trump has always touted himself as the law and order candidate. This is a man that truly wants to make sure that our communities are safe, that our country is safe, that the right thing is done. You contrast that with Joe Biden, who still, by the way, guys, has not spoken up loudly and said that whether or not he supports the defund the police movement. Where is he on that? Nobody really knows how Joe Biden feels about that. I'll tell you how a lot of people on his campaign feel about that. They have been spending their money helping bail out the rioters, the looters, the arsonists, the people that were violently assaulting folks during the peaceful protests that were then hijacked by these people. They were bailing out the worst of the worst at the Biden campaign, and yet nobody has said anything about it on that front. So if you want to know where Joe Biden stands on this is a guy that wants open borders. This is a guy that says that he is going to put illegal immigrants before United States citizens. I want to let that sink in with everybody. This is not just about providing health care for them. We are talking about a guy that would further endanger communities all across this country, and probably first and foremost would be our poorest, most disenfranchised communities in the United States would be hurt the most by this. So when you talk about defunding the police, when you talk about contrasting how Donald Trump has acted on this front versus Joe Biden, President Trump, Katrina just said it, is leading on this issue. Joe Biden hasn't done anything about this, and he's been in politics for 44 years. The contrast couldn't be starker, and here it is.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, Joe Biden, all he's been is like a government, paycheck collector, and his policies are guided by, staffers putting some stuff in teleprompter, where President Trump is actually making real reforms guided by a conscience and a desire to make sure that Americans are safe and communities are safe and children can go to school, and focusing on public safety and working cooperatively with police departments and community policing. So that's the difference there, folks. All right, well, thanks everybody, and we're going to be right back after this short commercial break with more of The Right View.
Hey, Lara Trump here. The fake news media has spent years trying to stop President Trump with their lies and their witch hunts. But still, our movement is stronger than ever. We can't let the fake news media drown out our positive message about all of our incredible accomplishments. Make sure you're getting your news directly from the source by subscribing to the official Donald J. Trump podcast today. Subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play.
We know you want to give Donald Trump 4 more years to fight for you in Washington, but he isn't just up against Joe Biden. He's up against the Democrat fundraising machine, and he needs all the help he can get. Don't just assume because his opponent hasn't completed a single sentence that this campaign is over. Crazy things happen, like this woman becoming Speaker of the House. Support the president today by texting Trump to 88022. Donald Trump is counting on every single one of his supporters to text Trump to 88022 now.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to The Right View. In the last week, protesters have taken control of the streets of Seattle, declaring themselves the Capitol Hill Organized Protest, otherwise known as CHOP. Of course, look who's in charge of failing to quell the chaos. Seattle Democrat Mayor Jenny Durkan and the governor, Jay Inslee. But that's not surprising because Joe Biden has even failed to condemn these radicals who have occupied a police precinct earlier in the week. In fact, the police can't get through this CHOP area. But let's play a clip from Democrat Mayor Jenny Durkan describing the chaos taking place in her city.
How long do you think Seattle in those few blocks looks like this?
I don't know. We could have the summer of love.
Well, tell that to the police who was supposed to be in that precinct, though. But I understand your sentiment, Mayor. I wish you well. We'll stay on the story. You'll always have this platform to talk about it.
Hey, Chris, the police will be policing in there. I want to be very clear on that. Our chief of police was in there assessing today. We take public safety very seriously. We met with businesses and residents today. We don't have to sacrifice public safety for First Amendment rights. Both can exist, and we'll make sure that both exist in Seattle.
So, Lara, you know there's a song, 2012, by Cascada, her Summer of Love? You got to listen to the song. It's great. What do you think about the mayor's Summer of Love comments?
I'm sort of baffled by pretty much everything she said there. The police are going to be allowed in there. I'm sorry, they have like armed militia with assault rifles standing guard there. They have declared themselves a separate country. They say you are now leaving the United States of America. That's what it says. Spray painted, of course, graffitied on every building possible as you're entering this CHOP, formerly known as Chaz zone now. The cops are not allowed in there. They took over the police precinct. It is so sad to me to see what has happened to one of our beautiful American cities. This should not happen in the United States of America, but leave it to the Democrats, leave it to a Democrat mayor and a Democrat governor, Mercy, like you just said, to totally ignore this, to say this is a First Amendment right. It is not a First Amendment right to hostilely take over 6 city blocks in downtown Seattle, to graffiti everything, to assault people. By the way, the number of videos coming out of this place where people are going in and trying to stay peaceful and have a conversation with these folks, they are getting assaulted and dragged out. In fact, I saw an MSNBC reporter who was describing it as like a street festival. Oh, it's like a street festival. And one of the people, I don't know if he was part of the CHOP group or just a passerby, stopped and he was like, hey, it is not a street festival. Like, let's be very clear on that. The media is trying to fluff this up and make it sunshine, lollipops, and rainbows, and that is not what this is. This is absolutely terrifying that something like this has been allowed to happen in the United States of America, in a great American city. But again, I place 100% of the blame on the Democrat mayor. She's not allowing her police force to do what they need to do. She let them get run out. They want to get back there. They want to take back their city. She isn't letting them. Shame on her.
You know, Katrina, I find it interesting that we get criticized and the president gets criticized when he says build the wall. We need to build the wall. Yet I think in CHOP, they actually built the wall. And the media is like praising it. They think it's great. So let me ask you this. Is the situation in Seattle a preview of what American cities will look like if Joe Biden is elected?
Oh, it absolutely is. You know, it's Chaz, CHOP, you know, whatever they're calling themselves today. I mean, it takes self-governance to a whole nother level. But you would continue to see more of the, what I call the uneducated, privileged white people terrorizing cities, and the educated ones continuing to wear slave-owning kente clothing while taking a knee with black people who somehow are still wondering why their circumstances haven't changed. But then you'd also have a bunch of disturbed and confused, traumatized social workers along the way. And while the police department is eventually, you know, to a farmer's market, it's chaos. And this Seattle situation is turning out to be the next volume of Lord of the Flies. That's how bad it is.
That is a great point. Kimberly, where has the mainstream media coverage been on this absurdity? You would think a major American city being overthrown by anarchists would warrant wall-to-wall coverage, right?
Oh, absolutely. Where is the coverage? Their radio silent on this. But instead, it's like we are living in the twilight zone. I mean, literally. The mayor also said, this is what democracy looks like. No, it's what anarchy is. And yes, maybe in Libya, this is what democracy may look like. But anarchists taking over, okay, cities, 6 city blocks like this of a major American city while burning down a police station is the exact opposite of democracy. It's the exact opposite of public safety and of law and order. And the media knows what's happening, that it's absurd, but they are so invested in destroying this president and influencing the outcome of this election in November that they have completely abandoned their duty to their viewers to be responsible and to their readers. The media will not tell you the truth. They are incapable of it. They will not cover real stories. And they aren't even trying to fake it anymore. They're just all in. Okay? So now 2020 has become much more than just another election. It's no longer just about tax cuts and foreign policy or education reform. It's a fight for the soul of our nation. And it's a fight that we truly can't afford to lose, and we won't. I mean, this is so important. I can't emphasize enough. You do not want America to look like that.
I think that's a great point, and I think Joe Biden does promote that chaos on the streets and in America, which I think is very problematic. And I have to tell you, Lara, you know, you look at, there was a case, for example, of a small business owner by the border of Seattle. He calls the police, 911, calls 911 constantly. The police don't show up. Tell me where that is public safety.
Well, they don't show up. How can they get there? They're half their city is overrun by these anarchists. They can't get there. This is what happens when you shun the police force. This is what happens when everybody is out chanting defund the police. Whenever you block off a city, whenever you shut them down, then crime starts to run rampant. When you need the cops, they won't be there for you. I'll tell you something. I have a friend that lives in Seattle. People in Seattle, real people, not people that are living in tents in this militia zone, CHOP, whatever we're calling it. Real people in this country are terrified of this. My friend there has a family. They are looking to get out of Seattle the second they can. Not a second too soon. They want to get out. This is so scary. Think about if this was happening in the downtown areas of your city. I mean, it is absolutely terrifying to think. And who knows how long this is going to last. The mayor just says, well, maybe it's the summer. Who knows? She has no plan to get rid of these people. This is ridiculous, but this is what would happen if the Democrats got control of things all across this country. The implications here could not be any greater. What we see happening in Seattle, what we saw happen in Minneapolis, these are small examples of what would happen all across this country with the Democrats fully in charge. Thank God we have President Trump in the White House, the law and order president, who, by the way, has said multiple times, look, if they want my help in Seattle, I am ready. Give me a call. I'll come in there. I'll take care of it. I'll make sure we get law and order reestablished there. But they don't want to do it. They're having the summer of love, I guess. So we'll see what happens.
It's totally true. This is what Biden's America would look like. And it's coming to a city near you or direct to you if he gets elected president.
I think rather than the summer of love, it could be the summer of craziness in Seattle. But the ladies of the View Right View will make sure that if they do change the name again from Chaz to Chop to, I don't know, something else, we will let you know next week. But we have one more commercial break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more of The Right View.
Democrats destroy everything they touch. That's a fact. After years of failure as a result of their terrible leadership, our nation is finally winning again under President Donald J. Trump. Sadly, the Democrats and the fake news media hate my father more than they love our country, and they're doing whatever it takes to tear us down at the expense of the American people. That's why we need every American patriot to step up and join our fight. Just download our app to receive alerts from the Trump campaign, and you'll get the latest updates on our efforts to keep America great.
During the coronavirus pandemic, Joe Biden criticized President Trump's China travel ban.
Hysterical xenophobia.
He was dead wrong. For 40 years, Biden's been wrong on China, supporting trade deals that destroy American jobs, giving China most favored nation status, letting China walk all over us.
The beautiful history we wrote together.
But Biden has never been more wrong than now. Joe Biden in the White House would be a deadly mistake.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back to The Right View. I'd like to finish The Right View tonight by talking about my view on Juneteenth. We started this show to represent a viewpoint that daytime TV either ignores or deliberately silences opinions that deviate from progressive ideology. So let's dissect this new idea that Republicans shouldn't celebrate or mark the occasion that Juneteenth represents, even though Juneteenth exists because of Republicans. What we've seen in the last few weeks since this rally was announced was Democrats doing what Democrats always do, claiming they're entitled to something. So let me tell you this. The only thing surrounding Juneteenth that Democrats are entitled to do is apologize. Because you see, Juneteenth celebrates the last Emancipation Proclamation, reaching the slaves to be freed. The same slaves that Democrats fought a civil war to keep and lost. It was Republican Abraham Lincoln who took on the Democrats in the South. And now, in 2020, Democrats in the media continue to try and gaslight the masses by claiming Republicans cannot celebrate our own victory in humanity and liberty, a war that Democrats waged against humanity. And Republicans, thank God, came out victorious. So today belongs to all Black Americans, regardless of their party affiliation. And for Democrats in the media to try to shame us, try to keep us indoors, try to silence our voices is absolutely laughable. President Trump listened to his friends and advisors, as he always does, and moved the rally to Saturday in an effort to distract from the importance and recognition of the second Independence Day of America. So we are still allowed to celebrate this occasion. Democrats will not claim our victory, and the left will consistently politicize our Black experience. From Nancy Pelosi kneeling in African garb for a photo op to Joe Biden kneeling in a Black church, they want to use our experience as a prop. Joe Biden even tried to weaponize this date against President Trump, and in doing so, proved his own ignorance of the occasion. He said we were going to Texas, and that was his first mistake. But then he said Juneteenth was about Black Wall Street. Again, he has no clue and lacks all care and consideration for what Black Americans experience, even as he tries to use our experience to further his own political career. It was President Trump who thought enough was enough, and the empty words of failed politicians were horrible. Real action was taken by President Trump in the absence of establishment politicians and their false promises. And our communities are now having a change. It was President Trump, through police reform, school choice, and opportunity zones, finally gave distressed communities a fighting chance. We will reflect on the injustices of the past and embark on a path forward to a brighter future. We will stand together and say that you are not entitled to our vote, our thoughts, or our allegiance. So stop weaponizing our experience, because we will choose our path forward. And some of us choose Donald Trump. And white liberals just need to deal with that. And yes, I am still Black. Happy Juneteenth, everyone. So ladies, before I get your final thoughts, I want to give our audience some ways to get involved, because the election is only 5 months away and there's still so much you can do from home to make sure that President Trump has 4 more years. First, you can download the new Trump 2020 campaign app and sign up at armyfortrump.com to get more involved. And to stay in touch with the Trump campaign, text Trump to 88022. Ladies, now to your final thoughts. Kimberly, let's start with you.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm very excited because tomorrow is our first MAGA rally in months, and I'm expecting to see a great crowd of freedom-loving Americans who show up to support their president and this nation. But I want to say to all those people watching at home, elections are won by those who show up. Those who show up to rallies, show up to make calls and knock on doors, show up to open up their wallets and help us raise funds. And this election is about you. And it is going to take you to help keep President Trump in the White House. So I want to take this time to challenge you to do more tomorrow than you did today. Find a way to get involved and help in a way that works for you. Go download our Trump 2020 app, and like Katrina said, sign up at armyfortrump.com. We need you now more than ever. This country needs you. Our president needs you. And thank you, everybody, for your support.
Mercedes.
Okay, Lara Trump, I've got the Miami Boat Parade, which was much bigger than the Wrightsville, North Carolina Boat Parade, okay? It happened this past weekend. Actually, my sister and her boyfriend were out and part of the parade.
Oh, awesome.
I got to tell you, it was a huge, enthusiastic crowd out there. Even the Miami-Dade Police Department was, you know, near them. My sister witnessed one police officer literally break down in tears because they went up to him and said, "We stand by you, and the president stands by you too." And I thought it was such a telling moment of these men and women in uniform who keep us safe every single day. But I will say, I think the Miami Parade, my hometown, beat out the Wrightsville, North Carolina Boat Parade. So you people out in North Carolina, it's a challenge. Make it bigger and better.
We got to
okay?
do another one.
There you go.
I think probably the population of Miami might be slightly higher than Wrightsville Beach. But
Good
we
point.
will see your challenge, Mercedes, and we are coming for that boat parade.
Okay, let's do it.
Don't you worry.
And Laura, your final thoughts for our viewers this evening.
Well, I have two things. I just want to say I have law enforcement officers in my family. I have for my entire life. And I just want to remind people out there that 99% of law enforcement officers are great people. These are the people who literally leave their house every day, leave their families, not knowing whether or not they're going to come back at night. They work the hours nobody wants to work. They do the job that nobody wants to do. They put themselves in harm's way every single day to keep this country safe, to make sure that people get their constitutional rights on a daily basis. They do the job that is probably one of the hardest jobs in the entire country. And I just want to say, look, if you see a police officer out there, give them maybe we don't high five anymore in coronavirus. Give them an elbow bump. Say thank you. I think it means so much. When I talk to my cousins who are in law enforcement, they say, look, the people that even give us a smile and say thank you, it means the world to us. So I want to encourage everybody to do that. But I also want to encourage everybody to make sure to tune in tomorrow to the pre-rally Team Trump Online. You're going to see these ladies right here, the four of us, are going to be hosting the Right View directly from the rally with a live audience tomorrow. It is going to be awesome. We're going to have so many other shows there, too. Katrina, I think you're doing a Black Voices for Trump show. We're going to have all kinds of special guests. So tune in tomorrow, Team Trump Online. You don't want to miss it. If you can't come to the rally, it is the next best thing. So we'll see everybody there.
Thank you so much, ladies. And thank you to everyone at home for tuning in. Tune in 7 nights a week for more Team Trump Online, and check our online schedule for the next episode of The Right View. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.
We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And we will make America great again. And the best is yet to come.